and subtle.
The God is vast and subtle.
We now have a chance to see this.
We now have a chance to see this.
Study this and practice this.
Study this and practice this.
May we realize this true meaning.
May we realize this true meaning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I won't be able to look at you often because it's a good twist.
Yeah.
It's probably good for my back to get that twist every so often. It is so wonderful to be here in person today. And what a beautiful day. Yesterday, some of us were at the Spiritual Saturday. Delightful. What a wonderful day. And maybe we planted a few seeds. Maybe not. We'll never know. We may know if somebody walks in and said, I saw you last Saturday and now I'm here. But one of the nice things I realized being there with 5 or 6 people, 7, I don't remember, is how precious Sangha is. Third line, I'm starting to cry. I'm sorry.
It's been a long time talk.
Don't take it for granted. No, I have right here. I'm not going to talk long. That's my second paragraph. I'm not going to talk. Don't take your Sangha for granted because it's so special and so wonderful. So, anyway, today we're celebrating Buddha's birthday. We celebrate being together with flowers, sweet tea, hot water, treats. This lovely little, with his birth mudra, little statue of Buddha in his pond of sweet tea. As I promised, I'm not going to have a long talk because it's a very joyous celebratory day. And we all know the Buddha's birth story, but I'm going to say it again rather quickly. At the time of his birth, he wasn't the Buddha. It was just Siddhartha Gautama. Siddhartha meaning he who has obtained the goal. Gautama is also the clan name and the family he was born into. He's also called the sage of the Shakya clan, which is where we get Shakyamuni Buddha. You will see many different translations of his name because there wasn't a scribe there writing down in modern day English what his name meant. And that's with so many of the Buddha stories. They're stories. But no matter what he's called, it's always honorific. It's always something good. And so it's like, no matter what it is, a very special person was born today, is what it all means. The main story of Buddha's birth is Queen Maya was trying to get pregnant for 20 years, finally got pregnant. She had a dream that a white elephant entered her from her side, and thus she became pregnant. And according to her tradition, she went to her family's home for the birth. But on her way there, she said, let's go for a walk. She was walking through a beautiful forest, hung onto a tree, and the Buddha was born without pain through her side. Then everybody ran ahead and told everybody that a baby boy was born and everybody celebrated. And I look at that and think, well, I've given birth. If I gave birth to my baby through my side, that's not an easy birth. And she died 7 days later, obviously time for an infection to take hold. We look at the Buddha story, and traditionally it's a very beautiful, this lovely baby boy was born, and upon birth, he took 7 steps, pointed to heaven and to the earth, and said, "I alone am the world-honored one." And that's not how most of us are when we're born. And then Mama Rana, blossoms rain down. And it's important to have these nice stories, because just the other day I heard stories are the anchor of our lives. And we want nice stories, especially for the people we know and admire. I've completely lost track of everything, so from here on I'm just gonna blah blah. I have a grandbaby, she's 2.5, and when he asked me about Amelia, she calls herself Bebo, I'll say, "Oh, she's so sweet," and I'll tell her the stories how I come to her and she runs and goes, "Gamma, gamma, gamma," and she knows I like mermaids, so she plasters everything I own with mermaid stickers. I will not tell you about the time we're walking through the airport, she has a meltdown and insists that she needs to lick the airport floor, screaming, and everybody's looking like, "Wow, why don't you control your child?" That's not the story I want to tell, but they're both Amelia. They're both Bebo. Grandma wants everybody to think of Amelia as the perfect baby, because she's my one and only grandbaby right now. And I just want you to think she's smart, she's wonderful, but she's also that 2-year-old. She's a 2-year-old, so she's also that 2-year-old that we all see and think, "Oh, can't you control your kid?" I want today to look at the fact Buddha is the baby that was born in perfect peace and harmony, took 7 steps and made an astounding statement, and blossoms rained down upon his birth. He's on the altar. We walk by and say, "Homage to Buddha, homage to Dharma, homage to Sangha." But he was also a human being. The Sutra of the Grass Hut talks about this meat bag here, sitting here. And it's like we're all meat bags sitting on our cushion. Buddha was also a meat bag sitting on his cushion. He was not perfect. We know a few stories of him not being perfect. My favorite, one of my first sutras I studied, which is probably why it's my favorite one, the Diamond Sutra. It starts out, he goes out begging, he comes home to his, wherever he's staying, washes his feet, sits down on his cushion, arranges his robe, and eats his rice. Washes his bowl, then he's gonna sit down and just take it easy. I just wanna chill out. "Oh, Buddha, 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 come tell us a story. Come tell us, preach to us, give us a teaching." He goes, "Nah, I'm just tired." "Buddha, Buddha, please, 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 we want a teaching today." "No, I'm just gonna sit here and meditate a bit." And students being students, they ask the 3rd time, "Buddha, please give us a teaching. We need to hear." He sighs. I'm sure he mutters something under his breath. But because the student asked 3 times, he goes, "Okay." And he gave us the Diamond Sutra. That's a nice little thing off the top of his head when he's tired and annoyed and just wants to sit and relax. But that he made them ask 3 times and then he sighed. And I really paraphrase the Diamond Sutra. When you go home and read it today, it's not exactly as I said. But Buddha was human, just like we're human. The lotus, I think there's something really important that I missed. Buddha was human, but yet perfect. We're human, but yet perfect. As Katagiri always said, "You're all perfect just the way you are." That doesn't mean there's a little meaning for a little room for improvement. Buddha was perfect just the way he is. I'm sure there wasn't some room for improvement with Buddha, the way he treated his students. I'm sure if you were here talking to some of his early students, they said, oh, you should have saw Buddha right after Enlightenment. He was pretty insufferable. Maybe, maybe not. But he was human. He didn't want to die, but he did. The Lotus Sutra, first I'm going to say, Hans, what calls us to the meditation hall. Traditionally, your Han is perfect the way it is, but most Hans will say, great is a matter of birth and death. All is impermanent, and it passes quickly. Awaken, awaken, each one. Do not waste time. That's a Dogen quote. What a perfect way to call us into the meditation hall. Awaken, awaken, do not waste time. That's what that pounding is for. To wake us up. What are we doing on the cushion if we're not here to waken up? My Fukan Zazengi, one of my favorite sutra lines, and I'll say a lot of my favorite sutra lines, is you have gained the pivotal opportunity of human life. Do not spend your days and nights in vain. How did Dogen know that I had free cell on this little thing? And every time I open it up, I think, yeah, this is what Dogen was talking about spending your days and nights in vain. But what are the other things that we do, spending our days and nights in vain? I hope to have at least as long of life as the Buddha. He lived to be 89 or so. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I'm 67 right now. I've reached the age where a lot of my friends are dying. Past 6 months, I've had 4 good friends die. I have 3 friends that are in chemotherapy now. 1, outlook really good. Stage 1 breast cancer, the good kind, she'll be fine. Same thing I had 12 years ago. And the same thing I had 18 plus 12 years ago. I have another friend that the chemotherapy, hopefully she'll make it through the winter, through the summer. Probably not. She rehomed her dog. So full of life, young, in her late 40s, early 50s. And another friend going through chemotherapy for breast cancer. Don't know. We'll see. Don't know. But all of us, we're all that don't know. I'm going to leave here and drive 3 hours down 2-lane roads. Don't know if I'll make it home or not. Nolan always said, pay attention, your life depends on it. Bend down, pick up my iPhone to see when my next turn is. That could be it. And every time I look at my phone, I think, Nonan's going to have the last laugh when I pick up the phone and go off the road and laugh and crash and die. She's going to say, I told you that. Pay attention, your life depends on it. We don't know. And that don't know place is a good place to live. Not to take your days and nights in vain. So we're all human. Buddha's human. We're all human beings. But also, if you read the Lotus Sutra, I'll say my favorite sutra. In this world of likes and dislikes, I have a lot of likes. But the whole sutra is how we are all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Buddha says over and over again, we are all Buddhas. Buddha's a Buddha, but he's also human. we're human, but we're also all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. What happens if we really blur that line? Where does human, Buddha, and Bodhisattva end? Just one big messy soup that we live in. No, always said that we're all Buddhas. And I go and I say, oh man, I'm not a good Buddha. He goes, bad Buddha, bad Buddha. And sometimes I just catch myself being a bad Buddha today. I'm a bad Buddha today. Oh well, maybe I'm a good human. I don't know if I'm even a good human. But I read the Abhidharma, hundreds of pages, and it was just a word soup for me. I couldn't make heads or tails out of it. It was like, okay, we're supposed to read this stuff. And the only thing I took up from it is everything, every thought pattern, everything is good, bad, and neutral. Maybe I can find myself as good, bad, and neutral human today. My actions, good, bad, and neutral. My Dharma talk, it's good, it's bad, and it's also neutral. Sometimes it's really hard for me to see the good in other people. But let's look at where, if we can find good, bad, and neutral. Being a Buddha, being a Bodhisattva, living here in this meat bag. Buddha, born as a human being. He became enlightened. He became the Buddha, but he was still a human. Good, bad, and neutral. That's where I'm trying to live my life right now. So instead of bad Buddha, it's like, I'm just me. And like good, bad, and neutral. Trying to blur that line. And today, I'm so grateful for this guy being born 2,500 years ago. And that when he reached enlightenment, he decided to teach. And that Ananda was by his side, remembering everything. And when Buddha picked up the flower, Mahakassapa looked at it and smiled. Yes. And when Ananda went to the Buddha and went to Mahakassapa and said, Mahakassapa, what did Buddha give you that he didn't give me? And I always picture that in a whiny voice. And Mahakassapa said, Ananda. And Ananda said, yes. Dropped everything and said yes. All the way to when I said, Nonan, I want to be a priest. Nonan said, why? I said, I want to make the world a better place. He said, what's wrong with it now? I don't know. You're not here to make the world a better place. You're to live in it now, here and now. But I have the Lotus Sutra that tells me I'm a Buddha already. I have the Diamond Sutra that says, I guess I have to talk to you now because you asked 3 times. I have the Fukan Zazengi that says, you have gained the pivotal opportunity of human form. I have the Han that calls me here to look at the great matter of life and death. So, it's all mixed up together. And I guess now we're going to go have a celebratory tea. Potluck, oh, good, bad, and neutral. I'm sure there'll be something yummy that I'll try not to like too much, and actually there'll be something not yummy that I'll try not to dislike too much, and there'll be plenty of neutral.
We have birthday cake.
Oh, birthday cake. Let's not get too involved in our dislikes and likes. But let us us celebrate the day of Buddha being born as a meat bag, just like the rest of us.
Call and response. The many beings are numberless, bowing to carry them across.
The many beings are numberless, bowing to carry them across.
Greed, anger, and ignorance rise endlessly, bowing to cut off the mind road.
Greed, anger, and ignorance rise endlessly, bowing to cut off the mind road.
Dharma gates are countless, bowing to wake to them all.
Dharma gates are countless, bowing to wake to them all.
Buddha's way is all embracing, bowing to follow through.
Buddha's way is all embracing, bowing to follow through.
Just a few just a few announcements. I could be wrong, but I think today is the last day to sign up for the 3-day sesshin next weekend. So if you're planning to join us for that, if you want to just join for part of it, you can let me know. And so please, sign up if you want to join us in sesshin. The following weekend, we're going to have an Introduction to Zen class on Saturday the 22nd. So if you know of anybody who's interested in finding out more about our practice and Buddhism, please let them know about that or sign up yourselves for that. It'll give you a good foundation in the practice. Anything else?
I forgot to ask if there are any questions or comments.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So glad I was perfectly clear. Good talk.
Good Buddha.
Good
Folks,
Buddha.
that was the Star Trek episode, Ugly Bags of Mostly Water.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Ugly Bags of Mostly
One question, I would love to hear your definition, your explanation of the difference between a Buddha and a Bodhisattva.
How I see it, and this is Dharma according to Shuji, is a Buddha is someone who has reached enlightenment and gone on. A Bodhisattva is somebody that says, I'm staying here lifetime after lifetime until everyone is enlightened. And that's all. So we dedicate ourselves to everyone being enlightened. And that's the basis of Mahayana practice.
Can I then follow on with the Spirituality Saturday? I think there was a very conscious effort to not be prophets, right,
Yeah.
of Buddhism. So where is that line to help everybody become enlightened and not pushing Buddhism? I don't
Proselytizing, yeah.
proselytizing,
Yeah.
right? Like I would not want to do that myself. I'm just wondering what are your
Our Bodhisattva vows, I'm going to say my translation because that's what I remember. Beings are numberless, I vow to free them. What are we freeing them? Suffering. How do we do that? Sometimes it's just showing that there's another way. Sometimes it can be simple as you see somebody shaking their Starbucks mug for spare change, you throw $1 in it. Sometimes it can be as grandiose as I have a friend who's an RN, and every time there's a disaster, she is there providing healthcare. She's gone all over the world kind of Doctors Without Borders, but she's a Nurse Without Borders, to ease suffering. And sometimes it can be when somebody asks you, you just, why are you happy? Well, just tell them why. And my biggest example that I talk about all the time, you're on the highway, driving down the highway, and somebody cuts you off, you just back off and let them cut you off and wish them peace. Not adding, rah, 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 honk, 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 get a move on. I was listening to a podcast on the way here the other day, and some guy was talking about trying to get his kid to daycare, and he was late, and blah, 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 blah. And he gets there, and he's green light. He says, I'm counting 1,000, 2, honk, 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 honk. And then they still didn't move, so he decided to pass everybody because he was late. And he saw an older woman rooting through her purse, trying to give a homeless person $1, some money. And he interrupted that. And he could tell by him honking and raising on the side, she got all flustered. So she closed her window and drove on. And how, look at all the pain I caused by not being able to wait just a few more seconds. And it's like, nothing I can do can get that moment back. And I thought, wow, that is the perfect example of sowing discord. But yet, in his mind, I have to get my child to daycare on time, to school on time, or whatever. So sometimes just is how you save beings from suffering. And that is a bodhisattva way.
Thank you. Nolan said that Katagiri, when he asked him how do we save all beings, Katagiri said by encountering them wholeheartedly wherever you find them.
Yeah.
Just open-heartedly.
Yeah, and I'm also going to say, you have no idea how what you say and do affects other people.
Mm-hmm.
I am shocked at how many times people will come to me and say, yeah, I met you at Ramanji Monastery, and you said this, and it completely changed my life. I don't even remember the conversation. And it's just wholeheartedly stopping. I'm probably running from one room to the next, doing some job that I have to do, because at the monastery you're always busy. And just stopping and taking time to tell somebody, oh yeah, your child comes up to you and asks something. And just stopping and saying, yeah, wholeheartedly.
Anyone else? We'll take a few minutes to get things organized in the kitchen, and then we'll have a potluck. If it's nice out, we can go out to the back patio, or we can set up a table inside. So we'll just see how it goes.
You should sing happy birthday to Buddha.
Right now? No?
No, just for a month.
With the
cake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah,
We'll
we'll
take the
sing happy
candle out.
birthday.
In Pali though.
And Polly, otherwise I won't understand it. There you go.
I'm sure you know that.
Oh.
Yeah.
If Daishin was here, he might pull another language and sutra every time he comes.
Happy son, birthday son, Buddha. Yeah.
So if everyone wants to put their cushions back in place, brush them off, we'll do a bow. Yeah.
That's the candle wax part.
Okay.